crisis is over, if it ever come to the point where it's over, what is it that we as Christians should do differently? How should we live that's differently than we have lived in the past? Does anyone have any thoughts on that? What is it that we can do differently to show people we care more, that we're concerned about their well-being, their spiritual development? What are some specific steps maybe we can take? Anyone have any thoughts on that?
You talk about initiating spiritual conversations. Almost anything can lead to spiritual conversations. Being more determined to find ways and opportunities. God's bringing these opportunities to us. Are we listening? Are we paying attention? And are we willing just to start the conversation? You don't have to be an expert in apologetics or the Bible as a Christian to answer some basic questions. And then the best way to answer the ones you don't know is by telling people, I don't know. Can I look that up and get back to you? Just the humility of, I don't know. But just in general, how we can live differently is to make it a point to begin these spiritual conversations so we can start moving people closer to the cross.
Right. And Don, what would be a good starter conversation that maybe we could have with people?
Well, as Brian brought up, any sort of question that has a moral dimension to it, anything about politics, the whole question between the federal government and the state governments arguing, fighting over who's to blame, and people from the left and right blaming it on this president and that president, and we didn't do this and we should have known that. And it's just so easy to transition those conversations into, well, for you, what makes something right or wrong?
Right.
And then that can get into the whole thing as Brian brought up before. Thanks for that, Brian. I stole it. But it's for me, the single best way to start is just discussing current events, because there's a moral dimension to everything we do in life.
And I just think that you and I need to look for opportunities to invite people into those kind of conversations. Then rather than inviting them to church to hear the gospel from our perspective, seems to me that we need to find out what their interest is, the conversations they have with us, and use that and move those conversations in a spiritual direction. And I'm really hoping and praying that many Christians will think about how they can be more effective in being a greater witness for Christ, especially during this time of crisis, when we're all thinking about we are closer to the end of time. And so I hope we'll all think about that. All of us who follow Christ, think about how we can do that on a more regular basis.